Banger after banger.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with your AEW Dynamite review. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and do me a huge favor. Like the video. Leave some comments in the comment section. Of course, subscribe. If you don't, man, I'm going to get Darby Allin to show up at your house and bite your feet. I don't know what Darby Allin had going on this episode of Dynamite, but he was just biting feet, man. Sometimes you just got to, put a foot in your mouth and just take a nibble. A little num 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 num. Anyway, man, this week's episode of Dynamite was pretty good. It was a pretty good episode of Dynamite. Some solid wrestling going on. A whole bunch of big surprises happening. Some segments I wasn't too fond of. We'll get into that into this review. But like I said, man, the show kicked off with Darby Allin taking on Swerve Strickland, two Washington boys going at it. They had a really good match, a really good opener. To start off this episode of Dynamite. Darby Allin won. Like I said, this is a really good match, but you already know how this goes. This is kind of becoming the thing, one of the pillars has a match, the other pillars are in the back, watching from that weird angle, that weird wrestling angle. And then, of course, after the match, you already know MJF is going to come out and he's going to talk for about 15 minutes. So you already know how the first 30 minutes of this show already went. MJF comes out. Cuts his promo, he's running his mouth, he's doing his typical MJF-isms, the whole "this town sucks, you're all poor, blah blah blah, triple B, yip-de-doo, all that crap, you know what I'm saying? But Darby Allin is out of all the four pillars, he's probably the most interesting one. He's the one that, if I would see anyone out of these three when beat MJF for the AEW Championship, it would probably be Darby Allin. He talked about how when he first got into AEW, he went to therapy, how he didn't want it. He doesn't want to change who he is. Instead of being selfish like Max, he gave back to his family, he gave back to his friends and his loved ones and everything. So it was a pretty heartwarming thing. Mentioned the fact that he helped his dad retire. And to the surprise of myself, Sting is actually not this dude's father. Pfft, who would have guessed it, right? They both had the face paint. They're always in the rafters. I figured they were father and son. But you know what? Just like the Undertaker and Kane are brothers, Darby Allin and Sting are still father and son to me, damn it. Speaking of Sting, he came out during this segment and pretty much said that, you talk about how Darby was under Sting. You kind of neglected the fact that you were under Cody, bruh. And the people were like, oh my god, he mentioned Cody. And Sting was like, yeah, that's right, I mentioned Cody. These past couple of episodes of Dynamite, Cody's been getting a lot of love. I don't know if that's AEW's way of, leaving that door open and saying, hey man, things that work out for you in the World Wrestling Federation, there's always a home for you here in AEW. I don't know if they're, extending that olive branch of peace, but, it's good on AEW. But yeah, man, continuing the hype for the eventual Four Pillars match for the AEW Championship. I'm assuming this is happening at Full Gear, I believe. Hopefully this happens. Hopefully they officially just come out and just say, all right, we're going to have a fatal four-way match. All four of you dudes are going to wrestle for the AEW Championship. Let's just get to it, Because MJF has had this in-ring segment with Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy. So let's just make this official. Let's just get to the part where we say, all right, it's a fatal four-way for the championship. Four Pillars match, Let's just get to that part. But it is what it is. Pretty good segment overall. Pretty good match. Good way to open up this episode of Dynamite. The next segment slash match we had, you see Powerhouse Hobbs pulling up in his brand new car brought to him by QT Marshall. Pretty nice car. And of course, if you watch wrestling for a long enough period of time, you kind of figured, all right, something's gonna happen to that car. Something's gonna happen to that beautiful brand new car. And of course, yeah. So Powerhouse Hobbs comes out, has a match with Silas Young. It was a squash match. Powerhouse Hobbs beat Silas Young in about 10 seconds. Pretty pointless. I understand that Silas Young is from I want to say this was in Milwaukee, I believe. I understand Silas Young is the hometown boy, but it kind of seemed pointless to have Silas Young be the guy the Powerhouse Hobbs beat when you have a locker room full of guys that are actually signed to AEW. Like, you could have done this with anybody. You got Serpentico back there. You got you name them. You got anybody. Like, why would you just bring in Silas Young, someone who's not an official AEW wrestler, to get squashed? You know, there's a whole locker room full of dudes that you could have had that happen to, but that's not what you want to talk about. What you want to talk about is what happens after the match. So after the match, it looks like the Powerhouse Hobbs and the QTV crew are gonna beat up Silas Young, and then out of nowhere, in the back, where this car in the backstage area, you see Wardlow, the returning Wardlow. He finally got his revenge on Powerhouse Hobbs. And I'm pretty sure this dude isn't forklift trained. I'm contacting OSHA because, you know, there's rules and regulations. You got to be trained on how to work one of those machines, Wardlow. And it was evident by the fact that he knocked the car over, flipped it on the side, and as Wardlow got out of the forklift kept going. He didn't even put it in park, you know, didn't even cut the machine off. That was kind of funny. The machine just kept rolling into Powerhouse Hobbs' car that was turned on its side. Wardlow comes out, him and Powerhouse Hobbs fight. You got big men bumping meat, something everyone loves to see when it comes to the wrestling. Just two big beefy men with big chests and big hands and big heads just bumping meat and just fighting and carrying on. Eventually the officials come out, break up the fight. Wardlow power bombs what's that boy's name, Aaron Solo, through some tables. And this pretty much sets up the match next week. So it's Tony Khan made it official. Next week is going to be Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Wardlow for the TNT Championship. How this match goes, pretty sure Powerhouse Hobbs is going to win, but this should be some entertaining meat bumping, man meat, all that stuff, man. Shout out to Big E. After this, we cut to a backstage segment with Juice Robinson and Jay White. And they're pretty much saying that their group is going to be another offshoot of Bullet Club. So it's going to be another Bullet Club iteration, except this time their group is going to be Bullet Club Gold. So you got Bullet Club Elite, Bullet Club Japan, Bullet Club Black and White, Bullet Club Black and Red, Bullet Club Hispanic, Univision Bullet Club. You got I don't know, all these variations of Bullet Club. Are they going to put some new members in there? I guess so. Maybe Chris Bay or Ace Austin, or maybe some people that are signed to AEW. I don't know. But this form of Bullet Club is called Bullet Club Gold. It's kind of like Pokemon Gold or Pokemon Blue, Pokemon Red, or Superman Red, Superman Blue. There's another form of Bullet Club. Hey, it is what it is, man. Pretty cool stuff. Speaking of pretty cool stuff, we have for the International Championship, Buddy Matthews taking on Orange Cassidy. This was a good match. Orange Cassidy did a really good job of selling the hand. His hand was messed up here a couple weeks ago. I think he tried to beat up Buddy Matthews, and Buddy Matthews either put the mask in the way or one of his championships in the way. Orange Cassidy ended up punching it, messed up his hand. So Orange Cassidy was pretty much selling the hand the entire match. Buddy Matthews was stomping Orange Cassidy's hand. There was even one point during the match where he did the little Orange Cassidy kicks, and Orange Cassidy started powering up. He put his hands in his pockets, the source of his powers. Eventually, Orange Cassidy won. I honestly thought that Buddy Matthews had a shot because he hit the curb stomp. Shout out to Seth Rollins, even though Seth Rollins was like, dude, how did you lose? You hit the curb stomp. How did you end up losing to a dude with his hands in his pockets? Orange Cassidy won. He's still the international champion. Yo, when is Orange Cassidy gonna lose? I like the fact that he's a fighting champion. He's consistently on TV. But who's gonna beat this guy? Who do you guys think is gonna be the one that beats Orange Cassidy? If it's not Buddy Matthews, who could it be? Who could it possibly be? I don't know. It could be anybody. It could be me. It could be you. It could be the returning Jeff Hardy. That's right. Jeff Hardy is officially back. He's back from his little time off. You know, he's going through some stuff. He's still going through some stuff, but Jeff Hardy's back. It's good to see him back. The segment started off with Ethan Page standing in the middle of the ring, yelling. Yelling ass Ethan Page. He wants answers as to why Matt Hardy turned his back on him. Ethan Page thought that they were cool, that they were friends. But it turned out, shady Matt Hardy was using Ethan Page as a way to get out of his contract with him and Private Party. And the way that Matt Hardy explained this was really confusing because he presented Ethan Page with a contract last week or sometime last week or a couple weeks ago or whatever for the match with Hook. And I figured that it was shady because Matt Hardy looked at the camera and winked. So I figured what they were doing was Matt Hardy was trying to get away out of his contract with Ethan Page. And the way they explained it was if Hook beat Ethan Page last week, they get a match to determine the fate of their contract or some stupid shit like that. It would have made more sense if Matt Hardy would have said, yeah, if Hook beats Ethan Page, they're free from their contract with Private Part or with Ethan Page. That would have made so much more sense. But they took the long road. I don't know what they got cooking, what they got going on, but hey, we'll see. Jeff Hardy's back. The Firm tried to attack Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. Hook actually came out and made the save, but the numbers game was too great. And of course, you look to your friends, you look to your family, you look to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is officially back. And man, I know Jeff Hardy has his issues. He has his struggles. We all have our struggles. But there's something about Jeff that just makes you want to root for him. That makes you. That's for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else, but I always root for Jeff Hardy, no matter what. I hope Jeff Hardy gets the help that he needs. I hope he overcomes whatever he's going through. You know, I hope he comes out. He looked to be in really great shape. So you know, hopefully Jeff Hardy gets everything figured out. Hopefully this run will be a good run for the Hardy Boys, and eventually they'll, you know, do what they do and maybe step away and ride off Swanton into the sunset, you know, step away or whatever they do. But it is good to see Jeff Hardy back, and you could legit see the happiness on Matt Hardy's face. It was a beautiful thing. Alright, so after this, we saw a video package with Kenny Omega. Voicing his displeasure with the BCC's actions and hurting Don Callis and the Young Bucks. Kenny pretty much said, the next time I see y'all, it's on site. Now, as this is going on, you're thinking, all right, Kenny's not there. He's not in the building. So, you don't know what's going to happen next. So, the Blackpool Combat Club take on Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler. Now, initially, I thought this was going to be a squash match. This match went a little bit longer than I thought it needed to. Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler got a little bit too much offense and they bled. John Moxley was bleeding a little bit. I don't know if it was his blood or Michael Nakazawa's blood or Brandon Cutler's blood, but it looked like John Moxley was bleeding. The match happens, and I think the referee just ended up throwing the match out because the Blackpool Combat Club was just Blackpool Combat Clubbing a little bit too much. So the referee ended up throwing the match out. So the BCC is continuing to beat up Nakazawa and Cutler. And then Kenny Omega comes out. I'm like, yo, Kenny's here. And he's making his way to the ring. And John Moxley's like, yo, what are you gonna do? It's three of us and one of you. But this is another surprise is the Young Bucks made the return. So they ended up, it's the Elite beating up the Blackpool Combat Club. So now the only person that was missing was Adam Page. And the way I see it happening is you got the Young Bucks, you know, they're happy to see Adam Page. Kenny Omega is a little bit indifferent, you know, he still has his feelings about Hangman. And then you still have Don Callis in Kenny's ear, you know, trying to split them up. So this is layers upon layers upon layers, setting up the eventual match between the BCC and the Elite. Something's cooking, something's brewing up. Yeah, man, only time will tell what goes on between the BCC and the Elite. The Elite. Now, another complaint I had about this show. You had a tag team match between the Outcasts and Tony Storm and Ruby Soho taking on Riho and Sky Blue. Now, for obvious reasons, people were excited to see Tony Storm and Sky Blue. I'm watching you. We're watching you. You know who you are. You know exactly what you're doing. But again, we took a week off last week because it was something different. It was Jamie Hayter taking on Riho, so we didn't get the typical Outcast situation. But it's pretty much the same formula. Outcasts have a match. They beat whoever they're in the ring with. They go to beat up after the match. They beat up whoever their opponent is. Spray paint the L, rinse and repeat. It's the same thing, man. There's no real story advancement. And of course, somebody comes out and makes a save. Now, the way they did it this week was Jamie Hayter comes out to make the save. She comes out first, and then Britt Baker comes out. And I'm at home thinking, like, yo, why didn't y'all just come out together? It's two of y'all. Y'all are a part of a team. Y'all just come out at the same time. But whatever it is, what it is. They eventually run off the Outcast. But it's the same thing over and over and over, week after week after week. The same thing. Can we get some story advancement with this? Like, what is this building towards? What's going on? I think next week it's going to be another tag team match. This time it's going to be Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on, I think, Saraya and either Toni Storm or Ruby Soho. But it's the same thing. Like, exactly what is this building towards? If this is building towards a title match between Jamie Hayter and one of the Outcasts, can we just get to that? Because it's just rinse and repeat the same thing, the same story, the same beats, beat for beat for beat, week after week after week. Can we just get to something else, man? I'm tired of complaining about this same thing. I'm tired of ranting about this, man. Can we just move forward with the story, please? Chris Jericho versus Keith Lee. Now, initially, when I heard about this match, or when I saw that this was going to be the match for this week, I was like, all right, cool. When they said that this was going to be the main event, I was like, okay. This is going to be your main event. All right, cool, whatever. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I wasn't really paying attention during this match. I like Keith Lee. I like Chris Jericho. I didn't care about any of this. The only part that I did care about was the fact that Swerve came out and attacked Keith Lee. So I'm assuming that their little feud is going to continue. I thought that this was scrapped, but it's looking like it's going to continue. Keith Lee came out with the Shiesty's mask and attacked Keith Lee. And the thing that made me laugh about this part was the fact that commentary was like, is that Swerve? We don't know who that is. It's like, clearly that is Swerve. There is no mistaking that is Swerve Strickland. Like, he has the same jacket on he had on earlier in the show. That's clearly Swerve, but whatever. I digress. Swerve attacked Keith Lee, cost him the match. Chris Jericho got the win, 1, 2, 3. After the match, Adam Cole came out and helped Keith Lee to the back. And it was a little callback to a couple weeks ago where Chris Jericho came out, except this time Adam Cole came out. He just walked to the back. He kind of stopped, did a little side eye, didn't really acknowledge Jericho and Daniel Garcia, and just kept going. And then you saw Chris Jericho in the middle of the ring definitely not. He was screaming and crying, talking about play my music, as Adam Cole's theme is playing in the background. All you hear is boom, Adam Cole, baby. So I'm naturally assuming that this is leading towards a match between Chris Jericho and Adam Cole. Hopefully this match is just a one-off. They have their match, Adam Cole moves on to something else, Chris Jericho moves on to something else. But that's not the way that Chris Jericho does his feuds, baby. You know this is going to go on for a good 7, 8, 9 months. Swerve and Keith Lee, their feud is going to continue. I wish that they would just continue with the feud. Because my issue with that is it's so stop, start. It'll stop and then start. They'll get somewhere and they will stop. And it's like, yo, just... Anyway, man, that was this week's episode of Dynamite. Outside of my few complaints, the normal complaints I had with the women's division, the whole Chris Jericho long feud complaint, this is an overall good show, man. I know it doesn't sound like it. I did enjoy the show a lot. Yes, an honorary W. But what did you guys think of this week's episode of Dynamite? Are you excited to see the Elite official return? Are you excited to see Jeff Hardy return? Are you kind of like, yo, who cares? Jeff Hardy needs to sit down somewhere, retire, whatever. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Be easy. I'm out.